So as soon as part in place goes high, it generates emission.
Whoa.
You'll start to see right automatically we've got missions active. There's a vehicle assigned to it, and if we go back to that Bluebotics vehicle system,
What?
sorry, they magically fly.
Oh, cool.
They can fly?
You'll see that the
And we're live.
What's up, everybody? My name is Derrick.
And my name is Casey, and we're here to bring you a new perspective.
This is Season 2, Episode 4 of the show where we talk about next-gen features that lift you up
Oh, no.
in ignition.
Oh, did he slide a dad joke in there? Is that?
Yeah.
I don't want to show my little
I
muscles.
appreciate it.
Do you lift, bro? That's the question
Do
today.
you even lift? Not really, and I should. I should. But no, so this week, as you can see, we have two people. We are welcoming Jared and Josh, and they are both on the lift team here at Flexware. So, how are you guys doing this week?
I haven't done that yet. I should.
But how are you doing, and what are we going to be talking about today?
Josh, you want to start us off?
Sure. I'm Josh. I'm one of the architects here, working on the Lift product, and I'm actually doing quite well since that was the first question she asked. I'm doing well. But we're going to talk about our Lift product, dealing with logistics and having pieces of your manufacturing talk together. That's kind of what we're supposed to piece this all together as. Jared?
Yeah, my name is Jared Smith, Senior Software Engineer on the Lift team. Been engaged for 2 years on this project. Hopefully we can show you guys how robots can start talking to your factory.
I'm
yeah,
excited.
that's awesome. What
Who
does
doesn't
lift
like
mean?
robots? I mean,
That's-
who likes
that's
robots?
my first question.
I should have had my little Vector desk robot out. He can't lift as much as your guys' stuff can do, but
Oh.
We can lift some heavy weight with robots and in person. They're very strong.
I can't. I can lift the spirits up of the team, though.
Yeah, that's
Way
great.
to go, Casey. Good job.
Yay! Got that
Yeah, so
going for me.
LIFT stands for Logistics Integration Framework Technology.
Okay.
Eric, do you want to give me screen share so I can actually run us through a little PowerPoint slide?
Yeah.
Jumping
Lift
right
is,
in. All right.
Where
Absolutely.
we sit in your factory.
You look so prepared.
Me?
Yeah,
I'm pretty prepared.
Is this a PowerPoint presentation?
it is.
This
we
is a
up?
first.
All right,
I'm
everybody.
on my laptop. I don't have a second screen, so you guys are have
You're
to
good.
get ready to go. let's look at Lift. What problems does it solve? So some people will be familiar with this diagram, right? Level 0 systems being your I/O and your sensors down on your facility floor. Level 4 being your ERP systems, some of your business management, all that WMS.
I hate to do this. Can we hold on 1 second? I'm being told that they can't really hear you guys, and
You can't hear us?
Brennan's saying you're like a 3 out of 10. Now, it's gonna jack up the screen, but I need to click on some stuff. And Kitten Poofs is saying the same thing.
Okay.
Dang, Kitten is just in here spicy.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Listen, hang on 1 sec. I'm gonna go to the BRB screen so you can't see what I'm doing because, Kitten, I know, so spicy. I like it though. I'm just gonna turn you guys up. So Josh, you're the one who is unmuted, right?
That correct. I'm the one that is unmuted.
Okay, I'm gonna turn you up just a notch. Look, here we go.
You're just showing it off.
I-
'Cause
There we
I
go.
know.
Okay,
Yeah, we should be better.
Can you guys let us know if that sounds a little better? See, this is the joys of using live streaming is you can't really test it ahead of time unless.
True. That's very true.
Well, here's my voice test.
Kitten, stop.
We all
Yeah.
need the Casey setup.
No, you don't need to spend this much. What Josh has he has a setup. He has a
Dude,
setup,
just not here.
just not there. Jared is okay. So they are actually both on the same exact little like donut thing, little talkie thing. Jared, do you want to say something too?
Yeah, can you guys hear me now? A little bit better,
Is that a
hopefully.
little better?
I'll project my voice better. That's on
That
me.
sounds
I say
better.
Melon tells me we got plenty of signal. So,
They sound
And music
They
is
sound better.
hopefully not
Yeah.
as loud as it was last time. And we're not trying to sound like a straight up raven here. I'll give him like a 2 seconds to respond. And I apologize for just totally cutting Jared right off. I was like, no. But I think we're good. We're good. We can continue. We'll just pretend that is a big jug of water. Holy moly.
He lifts.
With all
Jeez.
the lifting that I do every day, I must stay hydrated.
He's taking this serious. All right. From the top.
Yeah, from the top. All right, lift. Logistics integration framework technology. So, what does it do? What problems does it solve? So, some people will be familiar with this diagram. It goes from level 0 to level 4. Starting on level 0 is your IO and your sensors down on your facility floor. Everything upwards from that. Going to level 4, you get up to your ERP and business systems. Lift stands on level 2, right in the middle. So we start to communicate with your vehicle management systems, whether that's your vehicle fleet systems or the actual robot itself. We talk to those. We talk to the control layer down to your automation pieces, HMI, call stations, MES, WMS, ERP, and we can start to run dashboard analytics off of all of these levels of your system.
I mean, we could start off right away. What is, for those that don't know, what is AGV? What is AMR? Is that ASMR?
Yeah,
No.
Not quite.
Not quite. So AGV is a
Automated guided vehicle, and
Guided
AMR is an autonomous mobile robot. They are different based off their technologies, and there's a nebulous group of people that have their thoughts on what it means, but we generally consider an AGV to follow a path, and when an obstacle gets in front of it, it just stops where it's at until the obstacle moves. Whereas most AMRs, or autonomous mobile robots, if they see an obstacle, will attempt to navigate around it. So when you hear us say those two things, it's usually what we mean.
Okay.
So one would work better if you have a ton of people constantly walking around in the way, then it would just stop and wait, and the other one would like move around, or maybe it would move around if someone parked something in the wrong spot.
Correct.
Yeah, and as with most things in manufacturing, right? There's different things that are going to fit different use cases. AGVs are better at some things, while AMRs are better at others. It's a typical trade-off. But either way, we've worked with both. Lyft can work with AMRs, AGVs, but can also facilitate the movement of materials using forklifts and manual movements as well. So we are not just tethered to AGVs. We're a full system to give you your audit trail of all material handling movements.
What kind of brands are you guys working with? Is it
that?
mirrors or?
Yeah, so we work with a wide variety of vehicle systems and are always growing, always willing to take on more. Right now, we work a lot with Mir Fleet, Auto Motors, Bluebotics,
KBT, and Dematic are the ones we've worked with thus far, with previous integration work with Savant as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a wide range of these. Something that's cool about Lyft as well that isn't available out of the box in these other fleet systems is the ability to have these coexist in the same system. That's something that has proven very valuable to a lot of customers that end up going, hybrid route. Right? We have some mirrors, we have some Bluebotic systems or Dematic systems, and have them actually work within the same workflow. That's a very powerful thing that Lyft can facilitate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is really cool.
It is really fun. So what is Lyft conceptually? It is an integrated solution built on the Ignition platform. That is why we are here on the show today. We are still built on vision. I know we're on a new perspective, but
Today's the new vision.
Show ending. Show is ending. No, that's all I primarily worked with before I got here. So.
Yeah, and the difference there is we work with Java modules, whereas Perspective is more web-based, more React to JavaScript. So,
well, and when Lyft first started, like in its history, our first version of it, almost like the beta version of it, that's actually still running in a facility now 5 years later, was actually built on Ignition 7.9.10, I think. So perspective wasn't even a thing at the time.
Yeah.
Sure.
So just move forward with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
We have
So
I
a
know.
question real quick if you guys want to take it.
yeah,
Or
let's go.
Casey, do you want to give it?
Well, I can. So Brennan wants to know: is lift an ignition module, project, or some combination of both? From what you can
Yes.
Great
tell us.
question.
Did you say
Yeah,
yes?
so it is a combination of both.
Okay.
Great question, Brennan. I'm sure you didn't know the answer to this already. But yes, we live in the realm of solutionware. So we have a code base and a toolkit that we deploy out to an ignition gateway in the form of project files and module files, as well as a database schema that we push out there to facilitate all the things that we do. So yes, we are a hybrid approach to ignition. And the difference there, right? You can run Python in the actual project files, and then we lean on some more powerful Java libraries on the back end in our modules that let us do some of the more heavy lifting and stuff
Okay.
under the hood.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers your question.
I think that Brandon's silly. He was gonna be our backup host today because he's big brain with the lift.
He's very smart.
He's a smart guy. But that's a really good question. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you'd like to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we coordinate material handling movements as well as logistics activities amongst your manufacturing floor. We are the plumbing that actually gets the work done. There's a lot of disparate systems, especially in manufacturing, that don't inherently talk to each other, even though they need to. That's where we come in. We act as the traffic cop, making sure everything is doing what they need to do and doing it together. So
Okay.
we spoke on it earlier, but we can do manual forklift movements, we can do manual human movements, and combine those with AMR AGV activity. We can be very creative in how we structure our missions and actually perform workflows. So one of the how we emerged as a solutionware, right, is these projects typically are very complex, almost always, right? And they all have their own nuance depending on the environment that you're
Sure.
actually deploying this in. So this code base accelerates that time to actually get everything spun up and running and be able to start actually getting product out the door. So we wanted to simplify that, accelerate that, and unify all of your logistics operations using Lyft.
Do all of these speak kind of the same protocol, or do you get to a mirror, it speaks one, and then you have like a configuration for each type, and every time you get a new brand, you have to add some kind of protocol that it can understand?
Yeah, so everyone is different so far. There are
Okay.
some unified standards that people are trying to move towards, but those are mostly on the actual fleet connectivity, as opposed to the actual fleet APIs. Everybody has their own API. It's all in a different format. What we do to handle that is we write our own module files in Java for Ignition, and
Oh.
that they act as an API wrapper with those fleet systems so that that Lyft can agnostically, it doesn't matter what vehicle module it is, it's going to be the same type of code that we write and spin up and then agnostically process all of these fleet functions, whether that's creating a mission, aborting a mission, getting data back from the fleet, the vehicles. All this stuff happens in a very generalized way so we can do it repeatedly across all systems.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yep. So this is another just interesting graphic here on the right of how where Lyft sits and how it talks. You'll see mission. You can configure various mission workloads, which you'll see Josh show here in a little bit. We handle the mission execution that actually communicates with the vehicle fleet systems and carries out the workflows that we want to do. We have a set of HMIs and dashboards that
Okay.
we can not only custom extend, but have a few actual default ones that will help facilitate all this stuff and make it easier, and a whole logging and analytics platform on the back end of it.
Nice.
All right, I'm moving on to the next.
Yeah.
I'd rather go here. So our, this and this are the same
Okay.
slide pretty much. Something that we really our vision for Lyft is to be extremely agnostic. We don't want to lock you into various technology paths or technology stacks. We want to work with what you have. So we have built our system in a very agnostic way and very generalized to be able to blend into any tech stack or environment that we find ourselves in. We're also very low cost with some very powerful out of the box functionality.
Nice.
We're pretty quick on getting stuff actually out there, use cases solved, workflows running and automated. And we're also very flexible. So to show some of that flexibility, actually, no, I'm not segueing yet.
Okay.
Oh, we have another question.
I had a feeling you were going to be getting to this part. So when Brendan was like, "Is it a hybrid platform?" Like, we're going to show the picture.
Yes.
The picture shows the platform.
That's correct. Yeah, so you'll see kind of, this is a very high level graphic showing some of the architecture in a 3D model. So you'll see at the core of our system is our Lyft database. This Lyft database is going to save your system configuration, user security management, how your missions are going to go, mission execution, HMIs, all the data is living in that dashboard. That dashboard is then connected directly into the Ignition platform. And then we create all of Lyft functionality within these Java modules that hook in to the Ignition platform.
Whoa.
And those modules are what go and talk to vehicle management systems. We also have modules that can talk to various WMS and ERP systems and facilitate either material handling movements or various inventory applications within your ERP WMS system that are important to audit trails and all that fun stuff.
So,
any questions on that?
There is a question. We're trying to not interrupt. Brennan, again, is there a native integration with Flexware's ignition-based Spark MES? If not, is there plans for collaboration?
Yeah, very, very interesting you asked that, because this is something that I'm working on right now currently. We are taking the Spark MES platform. We are pulling work order data in from that. We have some augmented reality that we're going to be doing from that. So that's going to be very cool with the Microsoft HoloLens. Stay tuned for that. I'm sure one day we'll be back on here with the metaverse. So this should be fun.
How many buzzwords can we throw out in one session?
Industry 4.0, digital twin. How many more do you need?
Good job.
Don't scare them. Hold on. No, that's awesome. Yeah.
Kitten Poofs asks, any plans to convert to Perspective or just keep Envision?
Yeah, so absolutely plans to move to Perspective. The limiter for us is we did live in the solutionware space for a long time. So what that means is that since our code base kind of built on itself and we were building up our toolkit to solve various problems, we created a repeatable solution that has bundled all of this functionality in a way that can solve problems one place and solve it another place. However, if the problem had not presented itself, we weren't building solutions because we didn't have the resources to do so. However, we have transitioned into a more of a product model, official April 1st. So hopefully we're going to start expanding out and broadening our ability from a technology perspective, and that does include closing the gaps on some of that tech debt, which is, the vision to Perspective move.
But no timeline at this time.
No timeline at this time.
That's understandable. That's awesome.
There's a lot to go through. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the use case because we have some use cases for you that Josh is going to show. Is there any comments currently?
The graphic looks good. Kitten does have another question.
Let's do it.
Oh, that Kitten says that was my next question. Was this born for numerous projects, or is it a full product that Flexware offers?
Yes and yes.
Yes.
It was born one way, and now it is emerging and going into a new phase of its life cycle. We're very excited for it, but something to keep in mind is that all our functionality in our current system will obviously remain. We're just going to get a new coat of paint and new toys under the hood to play with.
Ooh.
Still a old Mustang in her.
It's better than a Pinto or something,
Mustang.
right?
I'll give it. It's a sweet Mustang, but it is old.
Hey, people pay a lot of money for that.
7.9, yeah.
Hey, now that's what I used in 7.6. Oh no!
I started in the 8.0 generation,
just a
so
baby.
you know, you guys are boomers. Kidding.
Break that down.
For what it's worth.
Clip that.
For what it's worth, I got certified with perspective, not vision. So.
Oh. Okay.
Oh no.
I know. I'll admit it. I'm a grandfather 8.1. I went through the 7.9 and 8.0.
So no one else uses 7.6. Oh no. Let's just pretend, moving on. So we don't age ourselves more here. No, but yeah, the graphic looks really cool. There's a lot. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
And what we want to go to next is Josh has. I want to introduce this demo just a little bit. So what we're going to show you is the set of Lyft runtime applications that you use, which consist of Lyft HMI, which is our custom HMI application that leans on our core functionality to do more custom implementation. And then Lyft Desktop, which is actually going to be the hub for all active running missions, AMR AGV missions. We are also going to be showing the Bluebotics Vehicle Fleet Simulator. So this is how we are going to show you that we are doing things in Lyft, but then those things are actually happening within a vehicle system. So I think what would be powerful is if Josh showed the vehicle system off just a little bit, just gave us a overview of where the locations are, and then pull that back into Lyft and get the demo.
All right.
All right. I'm ready to kick your screen on if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Look at that.
There
So
all right.
we are just to be. This is the user interface that Bluebotics has put out for their Ant Server fleet management product. And when dealing with vehicle systems, almost any vehicle system has a fleet manager, and then they have vehicles that talk to that fleet management system. And on the map, which is what you see here, they'll have places or locations or nodes. It all just depends on what they refer to them as, identified. And you can tell a vehicle to, and for Bluebotics' sake, I need you to go to, like if I click on this vehicle, if it would click on it, cool, it didn't, there we go, mission, you can tell it to do a transport from one node to another, give it 2 different nodes, and it'll go and pick up something and go drop it off at the other node, right? Well, what Lyft is doing is we are utilizing their API to do that same thing, except instead of it being manually called from this web page user interface thing, it can be manually called from our Lyft desktop, or it can be automatically triggered from a PLC change, or an ERP could send us a task that says, hey, I need you to go do this thing. And we've done all of those in Lyft. And as the mission is going from step to step, we'll report back to status as the ERP calls for it. So
wow.
When we say mission, we refer to a mission for the most part being a collection of movements. So, and each mission consists of a source and a destination. And in almost every situation, it's pick up at the source and drop off at the destination. We've done multiple legs to kind of work other things out, but in this instance, I put together my own little diagram to describe 2 different missions that we're using for this particular demo. And because it is based off a customer's project, we changed the names to allow for anonymity. Okay. We're making widgets and trinkets. And in order to make a trinket, you need a widget. So this first mission, right? This first mission consists of 2 legs. The first leg is to have a vehicle come and pick up a widget at this widget machine
Mm-hmm.
and take it over to the Kanban area, and then pick up an empty pallet and bring it back to the widget machine. The second mission is the trinkets are actually processing these widgets.
Okay.
So once it finishes processing a widget, it says there's a part in place. So it needs to look in the Kanban for a widget, send an empty back to the Kanban, and grab that widget and bring it back to the trinket area. So these are all kind of working together and in tandem, of
Okay.
course. But what's really cool about Lyft is that these missions are very similar. And they're doing things, we've got mission types. A regular mission type is go from point A to point B, but we also have this idea of a split mission type, which is go to point A, pick it up, go to point B, and then look in this area for a location, and then decide to drop off there. This mission is actually a hybrid approach, which is once the mission is triggered, the first thing you need to do is look in the Kanban area for something. So again, with widgets, we need to look for an empty pallet. With trinkets, we need to actually look for widgets. So
Are they?
what?
Sorry.
sorry.
So the widget's bringing it, needs an empty pallet. Trinkets needs to have the widget in there. So does it get like a message or a notification that, hey, there's something in there, or is it just constantly going and looking?
Let me show you.
Oh, okay.
So
Ooh.
Jared mentioned Lyft Desktop, and Lyft Desktop is extremely important to what kind of the core element of Lyft is, but it can also be kind of complex. Our first implementation, almost every mission was manually created by somebody hitting a create mission button, and then it would put the mission in queue. And a lot of those missions were first a pallet jack operator would go get a pallet, put it in place, complete that leg, and then a robot would come and take it over to the forklifts.
Okay.
And it was great for those, like we're handling each individual part of the process. This particular customer wanted as much of it done without human intervention, so they would use an automation layer. Well, because it doesn't fit our Lyft desktop paradigm, we would create a custom HMI that would look at a bunch of different statuses using our similar UI. Everything is very similar. So in this instance, we know they want to see the status of the mission, and in order for a mission to get kicked off, we have to kick off what's called a mission trigger. It's something we have configured in Lyft, where effectively we look at an OPC tag, and if it changes to true, we have it mapped to call a particular mission. And then we've got parameters and stuff associated with it, which I can show later. But from an ignition perspective, this basically represents a UDT. And all of these are different tags within that UDT, and once they all become true, mission trigger goes high. So in this instance, with widgets, we want to trigger a mission. We're waiting for the widget machine to finish producing widgets. So as soon as part in place goes high, it generates a mission.
Whoa.
You'll start to see right automatically we've got missions active, there's a vehicle assigned to it, and if we go back to that Bluebotics vehicle system, sorry, they magically fly.
Oh, cool.
They can fly?
You'll see that it's a simulated vehicle, right? But this particular mission was set to go pick up at the widget machine, and it's going to drop off at 101 and then pick up from 102 and drop back off at widget. So 101 is right here, so it'll drop off. And then it'll be told, okay, now you need to pull out and go to 102, which is right next to it.
That's so cute. It's adorable.
Isn't it? And it's funny because ultimately, because it's a simulator, it's just like a giant rectangular box.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to represent a particular vehicle, which, if I go to our Lyft desktop diagnostic screen, you see the vehicle, which here is moving to the charger. This is represented by an automated pallet jack.
Very cool.
As an example.
Look at that.
So this is made by F3 Robotics. It's called the Nipper. It's an automated pallet jack, and that's what we're simulating in our environment.
Track a battery and everything there.
Yeah,
That's actually really
anything
handy.
that we can get from them that makes sense. Like for Blue Botics, for example, we don't know the name of the map, and they don't have a mission identifier because we're creating the mission. So when it's running a mission, you will see like that it's running a mission site state, for example. But
Okay.
it's all about that flexibility. Whatever they want to see from the vehicle system, we will try and make it visible either in desktop or in HMI. The other important thing here is we needed to create a dashboard that showed the status of the Kanban area so that they could see what was going on. So interesting enough, we're in a state here where for some reason we have one area that's occupied, but we don't know what's in it. But we know what's in these other 3 locations, what time they were made and where they were made. So like this one was a widget was made at widget 01 at 2:20 this afternoon. But for this one, we don't know if it's actually occupied. So an operator or a group leader could go out and check the Kanban area and go, oh, there's actually nothing there. So they can clear out the occupied state if it's virtual. If it's using a photo eye, obviously that's a different thing.
Okay, so they use photo eyes. Do they use load cells or anything like that either? Or is it always just visual?
So part of the flexibility of Lyft. We keep saying this, I know, and it seems I get kind of excited about the functionality that Lyft can do here is we can look at occupied statuses from 3 different locations. Either Lyft can maintain it within its own database, kind of a logical understanding of what's going on, which is how this demo is configured. We can look at OPC items, which could be represented as photo eyes, or they've got some sort of sensor that's down on the ground that shows a pallet's in place. Anything along those lines that effectively a PLC is telling us there is something present. Thus, we call that occupied OPC. And then the third one actually comes when we ask an ERP or warehouse management system, what's in your Kanban area? And then they report back, here's the list of Kanban locations. This has something in it, this one doesn't, whatever. And then we just update our database to match that. So on these missions that need to dynamically look up a thing to pick up, we're now up to date with whatever the ERP system says. Does that all make sense?
Yeah. We do have a quick question. Well, I have 2.
Okay.
Brandon wants to know, is the final product a doodad or more of a whatchamacallit? Or is it a thingamajig?
I don't know. Whatchamacallit sounds a lot tastier.
Right? And then for like another question, so does Lyft have its own IO solution, or do you always need a PLC that provides pallet in place data?
So at this time, we are dependent on what the customer wants, but we have, with different members of the team, looked at different IO options. I know that our automation team has looked at Opto. I think we've brought in IFM and looked at their stuff before. I don't know all the details, but ultimately, whatever we can get connected to Ignition, either through a third-party OPC server or directly to it, we can talk to it. And in some instances, if we have to, we write a custom module to do REST APIs and those types of things to communicate with it. That is another way that we could ultimately translate those into OPC items in the Ignition server.
Okay.
I have a question, real quick. How are you guys, or can you handle priority? Like, you got 10 stations, 3 run out at the same time. You have 2 robots or 1 robot. Is it just FIFO, or can you set priority on different stations and you guys handle that? How does that work?
We have a couple different methods of priority that we utilize in our system. This demo doesn't have a lot of that in place at the moment, but for example, these are all the Kanban stations. Actually, if I filter this down to Kanban, you'll see that they have a sequence to them, but then they have a priority. So we have had to take the approach due to vehicle system requirements that sequence is sorted ascending while priority is actually sorted descending. So you hear everybody go, priority number 1. Well, apparently vehicle systems in particular prefer priority 10 to priority 9. Don't know why, that's just what they've done.
I can respect that.
So we put sequence in place to, if you want to do ascending, use sequence. If you want to do descending, use priority.
Sure.
So this particularly is used for helping us to decide which one has the preferred sequence for dropping off or in some instances picking up. So we'll sort by this manner. We also have, again, not in this particular one, we if we're asking the ERP for a source, for example, so we do a dynamic source lookup, which is the machine says, I just need a pallet, for example. I don't care which pallet, or I need a particular part. When we ask an inventory system, we can customize that as such to, like one customer we have, we literally ask them, run a query that's set up as FIFO.
Uh-oh.
We lost him for a sec.
Where'd
We
that
lost
go?
you.
Whoa.
That was weird.
That was. Oh no.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
I
We
think,
heard-
yeah, we can hear
I'm
you.
back.
We might need to we're on the PowerPoint again. We might need to have you
wrong
reshare.
screen.
Oh, it's
Wrong
okay.
screen.
There you go.
It's cool.
There we go.
But for this particular inventory system, they have one mission that they want done with FIFO, and then they have a different mission that they want done last in, first out. Not sure why, but that's what they wanted. So from a lift perspective, most of our priority sequence is done by determining locations for drop-offs and pickups. And then we can put a priority on mission definitions, which thus far has really only been used when we run manual missions. But that's important because when you have a mission in like the Lyft desktop here, if there are multiple missions, when we sort the missions, we sort those by priority. And the one with the highest priority sits on top. So an operator who's looking at their display goes, oh, I need to grab that mission and run it because it's a higher priority. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Nice.
So the other reason I brought up the Kanban here, you'll see that we've got 3 widgets and we've got 1 empty. If we're trying to keep things balanced here, that means we've got the trinket machine must need some widgets because there's more widgets in Kanban than empty pallets. So I can go to trinket, and thanks to the wonderful templatization of this screen, it's using the same template, but we just pass in different tags and whatnot. So now it's as if the pickup and drop off of trinkets is fired, and we just request a mission for trinkets.
You want to go to the desktop and show how that looks?
With desktop. So again, these are 2-leg missions. So we're on leg 1. It's active. It's going to the trinket machine to pick up something and take it to number 1. This loaded icon shows that we've already picked it up. If I bring open our mission details, you can see the 2 legs, the statuses that are going on. So this is active, and the vehicle system says we're delivering.
Okay.
It's got some. It's delivering an empty pallet to that location. When it was manufactured, where it was done. We can also see information about what we passed along to the vehicle system on the vehicle data. And then if we look at the second leg, it has all the same information. So this, we're picking up a widget that was manufactured at this time, and we're taking it back to the trinket location with the same kind of data here. And we can track a little bit more, saying we know that it was assigned at this time and it was moving at this time, delivered. It's a great way to report on what's going on in the vehicle system if they're ever trying to figure out, if they're having issues, stuff along those lines.
I was just going to ask about the... Oh, go ahead.
Something to note too, if Josh goes to the reporting utility here, and then our mission report, we can get a full output of all the missions we have run and see all of that data in an audit format.
Very cool.
Saving the CSV. I've run a lot of missions in here, so.
So you could maybe find out if they're like, wow, there seems to be a lot of time in between when it's picking up and delivering, and then maybe you find out somebody's leaving something in the way, whatever, assuming this guy can't go around it. It just sits there, for example.
Well, I mean, sometimes if they tell us that, like if we get a state change that says we're paused waiting on something, we log that. And one of the features we're in development on right now is a state tracking as well, that where we're setting up particular areas on the production floor and defining a set of states. As a matter of fact, I think Flexware's Acumen's product does something similar to this as well, such that, if we wanted to, we could come up with vehicle states. And if the vehicle enters the executing state, then that's a state. But if it gets into a pause state, we can track for how long it's been paused. Or a blocked state. We can track for how long it's been blocked. Stuff along those lines. So we're
Nice.
working on that. It is in kind of testing at another customer right now, but it is something we're working on, because that we get asked that a lot. Like, what's going on with my vehicles? Why is it doing this? Or why did it take this long for us to pull the unit or pick it up off the pallet? Stuff along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to note here too is that the necessity for this did emerge from the lack of this feature in out-of-the-box fleet systems.
Okay.
So that's where we're closing gaps that vehicle systems are not able to, and giving more information to the end user.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be helpful to them in many ways.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So, are there any other gaps that you guys are trying to fill or have filled? As technology
Well,
goes
there's
on, I'm
many
sure
gaps
that.
that we can fill. we're giving you the very simplistic form of Lyft. There we do a lot of advanced integration, especially when we have to start handshaking with various things. At one of our customers, we do clean room stuff where we're no humans allowed in unless they're sterilized, stuff like this. We have to have the robot talk to a garage door to let us in there. So we have various things that can actually facilitate handshakes like that with PLCs. Elevators, stuff in your facility that is typically not able to talk to your AMRs. We have built out mechanisms to facilitate that in a way that is pretty powerful and expansive.
Whoa.
That's
so
awesome.
There's a lot of things like that in Lyft that are meant to solve some issues that people don't really even know that they're going to have, right? Because when people go down this journey of putting AMRs, AGVs into their facility, they have an ideal version of what that looks like and how they want to do it and how they want to feel about their system.
Mm-hmm.
But then they get into it and be like, this is very complex and there's a lot of moving parts here. So that's where Lyft comes in and has this generalized toolkit of powerful things that can solve complex workflows. It's the whole point.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Heavy lift.
Yeah.
We have a question here. If you guys want it.
Yeah.
Well, I was alternating, Casey.
I'm just hanging out.
I didn't want you to work the whole time. I
Oh,
could
good,
do some
thank you.
work. All right. Is there a simple or out-of-box lift package that I can configure by myself? Basic advanced ignition skills with a Z.
Yes.
Skills with the Z. Hi, Poss.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
boss.
yeah, absolutely. If we have documents and things to guide people through how to do this. Typically, if what has happened is customers will want us to do it just because their use case is very complex. But if you need to do some simple missions, yes, out of the box, this can do it in a fairly intuitive way. It's when you start getting very complex and you need some more intricate communication between your shop floor and your robots. That's when you'll probably want us to do it because it ends up being a lot quicker. But to something to note here is when you do purchase Lyft and you're using Lyft, you do have access to the underlying files. So if you are a ignition developer and want to make a custom screen and interact with some of the data in Lyft, then yeah, by all means, you own the solution once you buy it. So yeah, extend it as you please.
Nice.
Not a black box, right?
What did you say?
It's not a black box, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Nice.
It's extendable, and that by design, right? It's the modular approach that we've taken ends up being good for expansion.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'll give a good example of that we've been working on. We have a particular customer who, vehicle system that uses a third-party attachment on top of the vehicle. So the vehicle runs around. That's what they specialize in, and then they bought an attachment on top of to move product from the main line onto the top of the vehicle. But to do that, it has to handshake with the conveyor. So that's being handled through the ignition OPC layer. But if there's at any point in time it's in the middle of that handshake and they have to abort that mission, part of our Lift HMI UI was providing them abilities to release the attachment to, which would then release the vehicle so the vehicle can keep doing its thing.
Okay.
Right now, in their vehicle system, if they abort a mission from their fleet
Mm-hmm.
and it is linked up to the conveyor, someone has to manually go over to the vehicle and tell it, okay, you're released to go. And vice versa, if Lyft, using Lyft Desktop, aborts the mission, somebody has to either from Lyft HMI or the attachment tell it, okay, you're free to go. We've been working on some integrations behind the scenes that can listen for events. So if a mission gets aborted, we can see that, capture that information, and go, okay, run a custom script for your use case
Mm-hmm.
that goes and just releases the vehicle at the line. We know the mission, where the mission's running, what locations are associated with it, and we can learn a lot just from the data we're storing within our mission to then run a custom Python script and cause that to get released without needing an operator to come over and touch the vehicle or touch an additional screen. It can just happen
Okay.
all in one swoop. So that's that extensibility that we tried to provide in, but that's also what you get when you have Flexware and our Lyft team help implement, is that we can look at the weird problems and help find a good solution for it.
Cool.
Yeah, something to note too is that we have multiple facilities with very similar use cases,
Sure.
but the actual environment does play a role in increases complexity of implementation. So that's where some of this stuff that we have built up around the edge really does help in the actual integration process.
Nice. Brennan wants to know, if you break it, do you still have to buy it?
Only Brennan has to buy it.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
But no. Hopefully we have a support contract in place to break it. But yeah, if we install it and you break it, we will help you fix it.
That's
is
good.
the general idea.
So don't ride
break it
around
all
on it.
That's true.
People like to break it.
I believe it.
We got another question from Postal Art. Showed up a little late, but what version of Ignition is used for the basis of Lyft? Promo video shows like 7.9, but this looks like it has 8.1.
Right. So we are on 8.1 for implementations within the last 3 years. We have one customer who is currently based on 8.1.16. We have another one that's on 8.1.22.
Okay.
We're currently developing on 8.1.26, though I did just see 8.1.27
Yeah.
drop this week, so
Just
we'll
this
be
week,
looking at
yeah.
that. So it is 8.1, but ultimately it comes down to the test environment and what the customer feels comfortable with.
Mhm.
We do require 8.1 and up right now. All our modules are built with the 8.1.0 SDK. But otherwise, it's whatever works for them, though we do recommend, I think, 8.1.16 or higher at the moment, because there's a particular configuration. So we utilize Ignition's built-in auditing, and that if they want to use it. But if you're going to use it, 8.1.16 or 17 enables you the ability to turn on the purge for the auditing, because auditing can fill up a table real fast.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to, their database administrators are going to want to be able to configure how old data they want to keep in that auditing table. It's a weird small thing, but usually they're either already on a version or we're getting a whole new server, so we just put the current version of Ignition on it.
Okay. Sounds
Any
good.
other questions here? No?
I think that's all of them for now.
So, I do got a question. Do you have any fun stories, since, you know, they are robots? Sometimes there's fun stories
Ooh.
associated.
Big googly eyes or anything like that?
Yeah, googly eyes running around.
I've
Okay,
seen it.
so I'll share this one. Our first customer, when we did the full implementation, which has a lot to do with some of the promo videos and stuff you saw there, utilized the Nipper product that you saw there.
Okay.
It was the first version of it, but they've put new ones out since then. And as one of the original developers integrators with it, I did some code for them and then handed it off and hadn't heard anything from them for like 3 to 6 months with the rest of the Ignition team. But then they're like, hey, they're getting ready to go to production. We want to bring the whole team on so we can see how things are going. Like, oh, okay, cool. So we show up and we see the pallet, the pallet jacks, the nippers, whatever, and they're picking up stuff. And I'm like, am I hearing music? And I didn't think anything of it until we went back into the warehouse area. Pallet jacks would take and drop off the pallets
Okay.
under like a awning of some sort, not on storage racks. So the forklifts on the other side would pick it up and take it to the trucks or whatever they're supposed to do. And I'm standing there because somebody just called for mission, so I'm standing, I'm waiting on it, and I hear Miley Cyrus's "Party in the USA"
No.
getting slowly louder. And sure enough, coming around the corner, this nipper vehicle
What?
that they have soldered a 12-volt power supply onto the vehicle
Oh my
with a
gosh.
Bluetooth speaker,
What?
and they put an MP3 player on it and had like 300 songs that they filter out every month, and they just run around the facility playing music. So they make their beeps and whatnot to let people know alerts
Yeah.
and alarms and whatnot, but they're also playing pop music as they run around.
DJ Nipper? What? That's awesome.
5 years ago, and it still stands out. It's one of the funniest things.
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, I had a customer, so not last year, but the year before that, on Halloween, they had set all of their mirror robots on the mirror fleet that whenever they were in their traversal lane, so whenever they're doing the actual movement, not the docking and the drop off and all that stuff, but during the actual movement cross plant, they were playing Halloween music. And it's
my
like
gosh.
it's like spooky, suspenseful music throughout the hallways. But
I
that
got
came,
scared.
that came from the onboard mirror robot speakers.
Yes.
You can give it custom files. You can give it
Oh.
and play whatever you want. And we've used that actually in some of our tech demos downstairs here at Flexware's office. We've used some of those cool voice commands.
It's like a Tesla.
Yeah. In more ways than one.
Because it's similar in cost.
Yeah.
But I can't ride in it.
The
Can I
robot
ride?
does
Can we
a lot
sit on it
better.
though?
That picture you saw that he shared, the big mirror in the center of everything, that's mirror 1250, 1350?
Yes.
Yeah, so 1350 is 1,350 kilograms. You'd be fine.
It's fine.
Challenge accepted.
I've seen people ride around from the smaller mirrors.
We don't
Just-
recommend that.
Of course.
but
For
we
legal
see it.
reasons. Don't ride around on it.
material and humans.
But you don't condone it.
No.
No. We're
Cough,
professionals.
cough. Oh my gosh. Wait,
that's
Bren, what is
awesome.
this here? So Post says, love the AGV music, effective caution tool. Definitely, right? And then, so Brandon says that's a lot better than the 8-bit music the Hyundai AGVs, I keep wanting to say AVG, I don't know why. AGVs play. Sounds like you're stuck in a Game Boy. I still have my original Game Boy.
Wow.
No handy on the Game Boy.
I might have to look it up after this now because I'm kind of curious. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, we're
Oh,
right
yeah.
at time. Do you guys have anything else you want to
Yeah.
show real quick, or or just if there's somebody that watches this in 2 weeks or 2 years and they got an AGV that's been in the corner of their warehouse for the last 5 years,
Oh, no.
what do they need to do first? And
Definitely check out flexwareinnovation.com/lift. There should be contact
I'll put
forms on
that
there.
in.
Please reach out to us if you have any questions involving your AMR or AGV project. We'd love to see what you have and hopefully be able to partner with finding a solution.
Yeah.
As we have transitioned into being a product, we're hoping to be able to announce more features and planned releases and stuff along those lines. And I think that we're going to see some really good movement because AMRs and AGVs are a big deal right now. And a lot of manufacturing facilities, both whether it be discrete, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, whatever, they're all wanting to use these as ways to be more efficient And you never like hearing reduced headcount, but that's a reason they use. But on the same note,
Yeah.
I've heard repurposing headcounts for other purposes.
Right, and it could.
Well,
You know what? Like my last job, they were looking at robots to take over the repetitive tasks that you can get fatigued from and hurt yourself on, where a robot can't hurt themselves, right?
Yeah.
And they just can go on and go on and go on.
I was just gonna say,
Unless
yeah,
the
the
battery
safety
dies.
aspect alone. They're using them in mining, putting them down the shaft so people don't have to go anymore. They're being used in
Whoa.
steel. It's crazy. So.
I'm just thinking of Zoolander. Is it like that?
Oh no, I don't think so.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
something to note too, Derrick, as a closing statement. So
Yeah.
Lyft is, it does have its set of use cases that it can solve, but we're always looking to solve new use cases. So if you have any AGVs, any AMRs, and you have anything that you want to do with them that you can't, come and talk to us, and we will do what we can do.
Dude,
Get you
definitely. Definitely. Well,
Alright.
if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and wrap her up.
Thank you
anything?
guys
Yeah.
for coming on. Yeah. I wanna say
Thank
that
you so
first.
much. So we just want to go ahead and give a big thank you to everyone that tuned in with us today. We really appreciate it, all you lurkers out there. And for Jared and Josh, thank you so much. This was awesome. I'm excited, and I think I definitely want to learn more about this for sure because it's super cool. And if you enjoyed watching us, be sure you hit that follow button. You'll get notified when we go live. It's free, which is the best.
Follow.
It's that little heart down there.
Please follow on. Subscribe to our YouTube too. We got all of our previous episodes there. So.
Yeah, definitely. And as a reminder, there we go. We just got to follow. I can't see who it is because I'm not watching.
Brennan.
But you
Thank you,
weren't following?
That's messed up. He had to watch first.
Get him out of here. No, that's just fine. But we really appreciate that. And as a reminder, so we're not 100% sure on the date of our next stream, but as of right now, it is on May 25th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So, but if that changes, we'll try to do a post and we'll let people know. So yeah.
Yep.
Until next time.
Stay developing.
Yeah, stay developing. Keep on developing.
Lift.
Lift, bro.
Lift. Yeah, lift, bro.
Woo!
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.